Welcome to the Elimination Chamber. It is come and gone, and I'm going to make this very clear. Since I haven't been watching, well, I have on and off been watching Raw a little bit, barely any SmackDown at all, and I just do the pay-per-views. It's just, guys, the product has been so bad. Look what just happened with the last, look what happened to the Saudi show. You legitimately gave up the title to a Goldberg. And basically now, Bray Wyatt doesn't even care about the damn title, which makes no sense. So my feelings about the product has not changed. The product sucks no matter what brand you're looking at. Yeah, I know NXT is still supposedly good, but I do not buy that it's going to stay good for much longer. It's going to get crappy soon, so I have no interest in watching. I'll still see some of the shows, but I'm not going to do reviews on them because of this type of show. Look, when you see this show, were there good matches in it? Yeah, there were. There were good matches here. They were not all crap. But does this lead us into WrestleMania with hype? No hype. No anticipation, no hype, no shock, no awe, no nothing. When it comes to WrestleMania, this show is going to be flat because the shows have never progressed anything very well. Let's get to the first match. I did not watch the kickoff show. Was not interested in it. We got Gulak versus Daniel Bryan, which was the opening. And I have this feeling that a lot of people may not like this match. It was a good mat-based match. Hard-hitting, mat-based match. I do not believe everyone's going to like it because it was very old school. This was more mat-based wrestling. Yes, the crowd did enjoy it a lot because it was Daniel Bryan. But if you took Daniel Bryan out of it and you had Gulak with any other person who is a mat-based wrestler, they will find this a boring match because they weren't doing extreme high flying. They were not giving a lot of suspense. This was all about wrestling. And the worst thing about it is there was nothing important about it. Yes, I understand that Gulak had been trying for the last couple of weeks to make this interesting, but we're talking about a couple of weeks. And you're talking about Daniel Bryan, a guy who should be a high-tier talent, now working with a 205 Live guy. Yes, this could give him a good rub, but let's be honest here. With the show that he's on, sucking as bad as it is, they're not going to make this that interesting. And even though this was a good match for me personally, because it was good to see a straight mat-based wrestling more than just jumping in the air, I can tell not everyone's going to like it because it was just too slow paced for them. In the end, Daniel Bryan won, and he gave Gulak a lot of rub. He was really saying, "You the man. You are damn good." Now, does this mean their feud is over? I don't know. Not because I'm not going to watch SmackDown, but I just don't know where they're going to go with this. If it would lead into a WrestleMania match, which it probably will not. No one's going to, on the brass in the back, is going to care about putting Gulak with Daniel Bryan on a show that has 16 matches, not counting the kickoff show. And that's if the kickoff show is added into 16. But you get my point. It's just me. You guys tell me below. The men's SmackDown Live Tag Team Elimination Match. We had Usos. We had Heavy Machine. We had Lucha House Party. We had the Dolph, and I'm surprised these two are still together when it comes to Dolph and Bobby Roode. I'm not calling him Robert. I'm calling him Bobby. And we had New Day. Let's put this in perspective. What was the most important thing about this match? It was Otis getting his hands on Dolph Ziggler because of Mandy Rose. Now, here's the thing that would have been wise to do. And I have seen several other people talk about this. It would have been better for Otis and Tucker versus Dolph and Bobby Roode at the end. Everyone else should have been eliminated. Look, it should have been them. But in the end, you got Otis steamrolling himself through the Elimination Chamber itself. He knocked out all the plexiglass and flew to the ground and supposedly is wiped out. And Tucker's in there by himself and he gets taken out. So you only have, who were the last ones that was there? I forgot who were the last ones there. To be honest, it really doesn't matter. because Morrison and Miz retain. And I think it was the Usos. Yeah, the Usos were the last ones there. Was it the Usos? Yeah, it was the Usos. The last ones there. And they legitimately got their butts kicked too. So it's Miz and Morrison who retain, but it should have been Tucker and Otis winning, or it should have been Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler winning, because then the Heavy Machinery would have a more stronger reason for just the feud between Otis and Dolph because of Mandy. It would have also been over the titles. And maybe they could have built this up going into WrestleMania, making Otis and Tucker go up against Bobby and Dolph. So then, if Mandy's at ringside, you can wonder if she's going to do a Miss Elizabeth and switch from one side to another and go back to Otis instead of being with Dolph. Or she would destroy Otis while trying to protect Dolph. That would have been it, but that's not it. This is what we get. Now, in no DQ match, AJ versus... Why didn't they just make this a hardcore match between AJ and Aleister Black? I think that would have been better than a no DQ match, because they pretty much did a hardcore match. They were getting out chairs. They got tables out. You got Luke Harper and... What am I saying, Luke Harper? I guess I'm really wondering what's going to happen with Luke Harper because of AEW. I want to see what he's going to be. Rhodey Lee. I want to see him. But you got Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson. I'm sorry. It should have just been a hardcore match. Honestly. It should have been. Now, here's the thing I did like, but could have been done even more better. At the end of the match, you got Aleister Black getting ganged up on. He's getting his butt kicked. And you see The Undertaker come out, nail AJ. And you get the fade to black from Aleister Black. In the end, he wins the match. But he really doesn't win anything because he's just a prop. And this is why I think things could have been different. Know what it could have been different? You could have had The Undertaker nail AJ the same way, but then he helps Aleister Black get on top of AJ. He wins, and then they show Aleister Black going into the back, and then The Undertaker is there. He stares at Aleister Black, and he can see himself in Aleister Black because he's also a dark character, just like The Undertaker, and he shakes his hand, giving him a rub he desperately needs. A new change in persona. Yes, he's the Dutch Destroyer, but he can be the Dark Destroyer. You could say he's been baptized by The Undertaker. And that would really help his persona. That's what I think should have been done, but that's just me. You guys tell me below. The Raw Tag Team titles. You got the Street Profits, which I understand they won. And now they're going up against Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. I thought they didn't have rematch clauses. Didn't they say there's no more rematch clauses? How come those two are up against them? You guys tell me. AOP comes out eventually. The War Raiders come out and attack them. In the end, we still see the Street Profits maintain their titles. And I know I could mention how the match was lost because of Kevin Owens. But this is what I'm thinking. Why? Why is Kevin Owens still dealing with Seth Rollins? From what I understand, they've been dealing with each other for quite a long time, but it hasn't led anywhere. It's not like there's a title that is really up for grabs. There's no title. There's no IC title because it's not there. There's no US title. It's not there either. So in this situation, I just don't know. I don't understand. Now, the match that I really didn't care at all, Alberto Carrillo versus Andrade Cien Momos. I know I could have mentioned this earlier, but this kind of goes along with what I was saying about there's no titles. You have They're my face. Carrillo feels blank. Almost feels blank. Yes, he's got a title, but he doesn't feel like he means anything. He's been thrown around so many times, and he had been fighting over... If Ray and him had fought over the title at a pay-per-view, this would have made more sense to me because he would have been able to maintain it, and he was defending it. But I haven't felt anything because when it was time for him to really get put over by Ray, he wasn't there. Ray's not allowed to do it. So in the end, this didn't really mean much to me. Now, the SmackDown. What did I just see? The SmackDown IC title match. 3-on-1 handicap match with Braun Strowman, who is the champion, versus Cesaro, who should be on his own and have already been a a Universal Champion or WWE Champion. The guy has it, but he's not. Shinsuke Nakamura, who just looks like the odd man out. And then Sami Zayn, who for many, 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 many moons has been a great heel, but had the worst storylines that you can see. And now he is the IC title holder. Really? Now, anybody else will probably say, well, you need to watch SmackDown because he's on that show and they've been putting him over great. But as far as I understand, their stories have sucked with Braun Strowman. Their stories have sucked, period. So why am I going to watch when I know for full well that Cesaro's not getting over? Sami Zayn, yes, has the title, but doesn't mean he's going to get over. And Shinsuke Nakamura has had the title, and they were doing absolutely nothing with him. I'm just saying. It just... Yeah. Finally, if I'm forgetting anything, I'm sorry. I don't believe I am forgetting anything. Am I forgetting anything? The only thing else I can say when it came to the SmackDown Tag Elimination title match is that Kofi botched really bad. He looked so bad. I don't have a shot of it, but I saw it. He was trying to jump on the Jey Uso from the top turnbuckle. He slipped off that bitch and he looked bad. That was so botchy. It was memorable. Now, the Raw Women's Elimination title match. Well, elimination... They're in my face. Sorry for the noise, guys. It's always noise in my area with the bikes. But the Raw Women's Elimination Chamber match was completely one-sided. So one-sided, it was shocking how one-sided it was. And the first person that came out was Sarah Logan. She drop-kicked Natalya straight in her boobs. I don't have that shot. But once Shayna Baszler came out, she ended that thing fast. Shayna destroyed everyone. She destroyed Sarah by choking her out. She destroyed Natalya, slamming her into the cage, and then slamming the door into her chest. I guess she didn't like her big boobs. She whooped that ass and then choked her out. Then she swung around Liv Morgan. At one point I thought, were they really going to do something with Liv? Because there was only Asuka and Liv Morgan left. And she swung her around and then hung her out to dry, as you can see in my face. She got her in a chokehold on the top turnbuckle, just choked her ass out, and she's done. And then it's just Asuka. And I thought Shayna should not have a problem with Asuka. She should be a little bit difficult because Asuka's one of the best, at least in NXT at the time. Now it's kind of like, if this was Asuka almost 4 years ago, she would have a hard time with her. But here, I didn't expect much. But I didn't expect her to whoop her ass so good. She whooped... I know everyone's going to say, well, Asuka put up a good fight. No, she did not. Asuka put up a very abysmal fight. She got her ass whooped. Shayna whooped that ass. Maybe I'll use that name. Shayna whooped that ass. That might be the better name than what I was thinking, that Shayna, the Ace of Spades Destroyer, I think. I think maybe whoop that ass might be better. But when it came down to it, they ended the show with her, the Queen of Spades, destroying everybody without any difficulty. So the question's going to be, and you could see the Becky watching, who looked like, she looked like a goof, to be honest. For some reason, I was getting goof. The way she was standing there grinning like, yeah, she looked like a goof. It would have been better if she walked out to the Elimination Chamber, stood right outside the cell itself, and well, not the chamber itself, and just shook it and showed the title. And then you can at least see Shayna Baszler point at her and say, I'm coming for you. That would have made her look a little bit more tougher, but she looked like a goof. So was this a good show? No. There were some okay matches, no lie. But I felt no hype. And it's not just because I'm not watching the product a lot. I'm not watching the product a lot. There's no lie. But when I was watching the product, both shows were abysmal. Now I understand that Raw is a little better, but that doesn't mean it's better. It's still in the same state as it was when I last saw it nearly 3 months ago. Bad. But it's just me. You guys tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.